Nuremberg has a long European history, some of which can be seen in its rebuilt old town. But for many Americans, the city may conjure up memories of its darker Nazi history. Let me give you a few thoughts on our trip there before continuing our travel video. Well, this was day 2 of our Europe trip, and our first 3 nights were spent in Munich, Germany. And the first day we did a day trip to Salzburg, Austria. If you saw our first video, you saw that, a wonderful city. And then the second day we took a train from Munich to Nuremberg, Germany. We primarily went there because that's where the Nuremberg Trials were held. The trials that followed World War II, and the Allies did their best to try to hold the Nazi leaders accountable for their atrocities. Nuremberg, it's really interesting. It was heavily bombed in World War II. In fact, most of it, I think, especially the old town, was destroyed. But they've rebuilt it, and it looks like an old town, but it really isn't all that old compared to others. What we found out that I didn't know was that was where the huge Nazi rallies were held. We did a bus tour, and they took us to where those rallies were held. And so you could just envision those rallies. You could envision Hitler coming down and screaming and yelling as he was known to do. And that, I didn't particularly like that part of it. But we did go where the trials were held. You can go in the courtroom. There's a presentation there, and a very interesting place. Well, we started on our rail journey, seeing rolling green hills and pastures on the way. Eventually, the high-speed train reached speeds of 180 miles an hour. At the Nuremberg rail station, we discovered we were only steps away from the old town, so we explored for a while on foot. In the distance are the 2 towers of the St. Lawrence Church. And did I mention there are 16 bells in those 2 towers? According to written material from the church, construction began in 1230, and it was always a parish church, never a cathedral. The church became Lutheran Protestant in 1525. It has a membership of 2,000 but welcomes 750,000 visitors a year. Most of its art dates from the 15th and 16th centuries, and it has 3 organs, among the largest organ installations in Europe. In 1940, Nuremberg citizens began removing art, altars, and stained glass windows for safekeeping because of the war. The church suffered heavy damage from bomb attacks during World War II, but was rededicated in 1952. The pedestrian-friendly Old Town opens onto a large plaza where flower and food booths were set up, and it's from there we caught a bus tour of the city. In addition to seeing areas outside of Old Town, we saw the location where massive Nazi rallies took place, and the very stand where Hitler worked the crowd into a frenzy of Nazi devotion. We also saw buildings that had formerly been dedicated to the Nazi cause. Arriving back by the Old Town and the train station, we headed to the other side of town on our way to what's called Memoriam Nuremberg Trials, in what was the Palace of Justice. In case you're planning a visit, be aware the Trials Museum is closed on Tuesdays.
Oh yeah.
He didn't want to have to pay for it.
No.
But he will.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think. The museum is extensive and includes narrated exhibits, and there is a video presentation in the courtroom with authentic historical footage that really brings the trials to life. Very sobering. 24 top Nazis were indicted and 21 brought to trial from 1945 to 1946. 3, including Hitler, Joseph Goebbels, and Heinrich Himmler, had already committed suicide. Cowards. 19 defendants were convicted and 12 were sentenced to hanging. 3 got life in prison and 4 got prison terms from 10 to 20 years. An additional 12 military tribunals for war crimes were held from 1946 to 1949 to bring 177 more Nazi leaders to justice. Many were convicted. The defendants were held in a jail behind the Palace of Justice during the trial. Yeah, look at that. Wow.
Jewish graveyard.
This is just bad. We regret that we didn't have time to explore the Nuremberg Imperial Castle, as well as the many bridges, waterways, museums, churches, and eateries. There really is so much more to see that would take more than a day. Thanks for watching.
Put this on there. I haven't eaten that side.
What kind did you get?
Hazelnut.
All right.
What kind did you get?
Lemon.